think that I was a part of a group, that I was a member of Fortune. I mean, let's face it, I was the star of Fortune. I was always the leader of Fortune. I was always the future of this wrestling company. And it's my fault. It's my bad. I mean, I let those guys ride my coattails and support their families off of my talent the whole time. I mean, that's my fault. But guys, I know that you knew that there was going to come a time where I was going to go out on my own and scrape you off the bottom of my shoe like the pieces of crap that you are. Now, I know you guys are listening in the back, Storm, Kazarian, AJ, and guys, it's time to grow into men. It's time to grow a set because Bobby Roode, your world heavyweight champion, is no longer going to allow you to stand in my shadow any longer.
About your damn luck.
Bobby Roode, does it look like I am the type of redneck that's going to stand in a jackass's shadow? Especially when that jackass is a dumbass. Now, you better explain real quick of why you want to jump me from behind. I'm going to give you about 3 seconds. Because after that 3 seconds, I'm going to finish my beer. I'm going to walk my redneck ass on down there. And I'm going to kick your ass all over this arena. 1, 2, 3.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Ferran Derry.
Sit down, shut up, and listen up.
Well, as with many things in TNA, it just led to a pull-apart brawl that didn't quite get there. Security getting involved in front of Cowboy James Storm. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Ferran Derry here with you, previewing Survivor Series and taking a look back at Turning Point from this past Sunday. A couple of new champions in the works. Of course, as you heard from the promo, Bobby Roode holding on to his TNA championship and beating AJ Styles. We're going to have a rematch coming up in December with Final Resolution, and courtesy of this past Thursday on Impact, Sting set it up. It is going to be a 30-minute Iron Man match for the TNA title. Bobby Roode and AJ Styles. That should be a good one, especially with Styles' ankle finally healed up. As far as title changes that did happen, well, we had Robbie E. beating Eric Young for the TNA television title, or kind of the toy belt as it's been jokingly referred to. Mexican America and Sarita, they beat Inc. and Toxin to retain the TNA Tag Team Championships. Austin Aries, well, he beat Jesse Sorensen and Kid Cash in that triple threat match to retain the X Division title. But Gail Kim, she beat Velvet Sky to become the new TNA Knockouts champion. And courtesy of that 10 knockout gauntlet match from this past Thursday on Impact, Mickie James is the number one contender, and that match has been announced. Gail Kim will defend the Knockouts title against Mickie James coming up at Final Resolution. Looking at the rest of the card from Turning Point, Rob Van Dam beat Christopher Daniels in a little over 10 minutes. Crimson and Matt Morgan, that ended in a double disqualification just after the 12-minute mark. Mr. Anderson and Abyss beat Bully Ray and Scott Steiner in just under 12 minutes. And Jeff Hardy beat Jeff Jarrett not once, not twice, but 3 times. All on the pay-per-view, all in succession. Jarrett asking basically for an immediate rematch and losing on 3 occasions. Kind of hard to say where they really go from there. And, of course, Bobby Roode retaining the TNA Heavyweight Championship, beating AJ Styles in about a 20-minute match. Now they get to go an extra 10 minutes coming up at Final Resolution. Some other notes from Impact. Well, obviously you heard the exchange there between Bobby Roode and former tag team partner James Storm. I'm sure their rematch will be coming. Maybe they'll have that set up for Genesis That'd at least be my guess. Robbie E. held on to the TV title, beating Devon in pretty much a squash. Also, kind of getting some more X Division action in there. Jesse Sorensen and Brian Kendrick beating Kid Cash and Austin Aries. I mentioned that 10 knockout gauntlet match between Mickie James and a whole host of other knockouts. She won that to become #1 contender. And we have new TNA Tag Team Champions courtesy of this past Thursday on Impact. Matt Morgan and Crimson beating Mexican America, a team that was formed only about an hour earlier, and they went and captured the tag team titles. And I think I know part of the reason for why that is. It looks like the recent #1 contenders, well, that partnership seems to have ended, so another one has to be put in its place. And Garrett Bischoff, he seems to be getting a little bit of a push now after beating Gunner in just under a 4-minute match. And at the end of the episode, we saw that James Storm was looking to see who had attacked him from behind, obviously last week, and it turns out that it was Kurt Angle. And it looks like there's going to be more developing coming up this Thursday with that. Let's go back to the Facebook fan page, WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. I had, of course, asked earlier just for your opinion after everything with WWE and Raw and things trending on Twitter, and I was kind of looking which of the various new quotes from The Rock was the worst to have trended, and well, Dan chiming in, he thought that Cena's lady parts was worse. He said he changed his fantasy football team to the other one. He thought that was rather entertaining, and oh, John, always good for a quip. John from the Northeast chiming in that the worst thing trending on WWE as far as Twitter is Michael Cole, which I don't know if Cole is necessarily trending, but maybe it's a downward trend, at least as far as I'm concerned. That's what we can only really hope. Just kind of throwing it out there. In case you missed the top story that I gave back at the top of the hour, TMZ reporting that Matt Hardy was kicked out of a WWE-sponsored rehab facility yesterday. The staff said they were suspicious of his behavior, ordered him to take a breathalyzer test. Hardy said he wasn't drinking, but he failed the test and got the boot. Because of that, based on a court order, as soon as he got back home to North Carolina, he was immediately arrested, charged with violating a court order. When being sent to rehab, Hardy was told that if he failed to complete the rehab program, he would be placed in jail on $1 million bond. And that is the latest. If more develops over the course of the hour, we'll certainly bring it to you. We'll be checking out TMZ and other sources, see if we can get more information on that. But at this point, not looking good for Matt Hardy. Oof. Well, mentioned Final Resolution. Let's take a look at Survivor Series. That's obviously coming up tomorrow. We want to know more of your favorite Survivor Series moments. I've already gone through a few of them over the course of the last half hour, and there's certainly a bunch more out there. I've already given a couple of mine. I kind of want to see what your thoughts are on those as we go along. But looking to tomorrow, to this year's Survivor Series, we've got 6 matches at least announced, one of those being a traditional 5-on-5 elimination Survivor Series match. With that one, we've got Team Orton. Of course, Randy Orton paired with the head-scratching combinations of Kofi Kingston, Sin Cara, Sheamus, and Mason Ryan against Team Barrett, headed, of course, by Wade Barrett. You've got Hunico, Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, and Cody Rhodes. My thoughts on it, I think Team Orton's going to win that one, and more than likely Orton and perhaps one of the younger guys like Mason Ryan will be the sole survivors on that one. And then the rest, well, 4 of the 5 remaining are going to be various title matches. You've got Beth Phoenix defending the Divas title against Eve in a Lumberjill match. That was just recently changed this past week. I think Phoenix is going to retain there. Dolph Ziggler, well, he's working double duty. That's right. He's going to defend the U.S. Championship and compete in the 5-on-5 elimination match Ziggler defending that U.S. title against John Morrison, despite the online Twitter petitioning going on by Zack Ryder. John Morrison, he gets the nod. And Dolph Ziggler, he's got 2 matches once again. The reason for that, Ziggler is replacing an injured wrestler. Christian is going to be out of tomorrow's Survivor Series due to a high ankle sprain that he suffered on the European tour over the last couple of weeks. Ziggler replacing Christian on Team Barrett. And defending the U.S. title as well. This is the second pay-per-view in a row where he's had to wrestle 2 matches in one night. Also, you've got, the big ones. The World Heavyweight Championship, Mark Henry, literally the big ones, defending the world title against The Big Show. I've got Henry winning that one. I also think that Ziggler is going to hang on to the U.S. title. Didn't mention that. And then Alberto Del Rio against CM Punk for the WWE Championship. I think Punk is going to win the championship here. I don't know. There hasn't been a lot of positive response to Alberto Del Rio. His stock has fallen significantly since going all the way back to February of this year. And I don't know. As a champion, he hasn't been taken necessarily seriously. So we'll see where things go from here, or if he hangs on to the title, which certainly could happen, because that's why these are my predictions certain to go wrong. Well, maybe we'll be able to get some credible challenges for him as opposed to feeding him to Super Cena. And speaking of Super Cena, John Cena, The Rock against Miz and R-Truth. Call me crazy, but because Miz and R-Truth have been put so much on the back burner and so much has been emphasized with John Cena and The Rock, I think Awesome Truth is going to win the match, and I think that's going to lead to more tension between Cena and The Rock, and that will just lead to the build to WrestleMania, where they will go ahead and face each other this coming April. So there's my predictions certain to go wrong, my thoughts on the Survivor Series. And we can go ahead and we've got open lines, so we can certainly take your calls, 215-949-3232, or toll free at 888-922-2149. You can get a hold of us that way. You can also chime in on the Facebook fan page, WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. And if you haven't chimed in the last couple of weeks or been able to tune in, you can now get archives of the show on YouTube. Just go ahead up to the little search box there and on YouTube.com and type in WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. And I've got the last 3 or 4 weeks archives up on YouTube. So you can go back and listen, catch up on what you might have missed. Definitely some good stuff there. And we'll go ahead and take care of a little bit of business, come back, more of your calls, more of your thoughts, more of your opinions, more of your favorite Survivor Series memories. We're going to look back at that and a whole bunch more here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.